been so strong, and another year has come and gone.
So it's early December and we're on my allotment, and I've had my allotment for about 3 months. It's incredibly weedy. It has every classic weed problem going. But December's a really good time to take on an allotment because not much is growing, so you can just get on with doing all the weeding and digging. And I think people always think December's going to be a really horrible month, but there's so many really beautiful days in December. There's a lot more sunny days. And as long as you have a way to have some hot tea, there's always plenty to be done.
And oh, it's gonna be a good year. We have waited long enough. Baby, though the clouds are all rolling, it's gonna be a good year for us. Oh, it's gonna be a good year for us.
So there are 3 culprits in this allotment that are making life a little difficult. The first is couch grass, which are all these kind of wiry roots here, and they make this. And as you can see, once it gets established, it's got this incredible rhizome of roots, and every little bit of root that breaks off, if it has an eye or a new set of roots, then it becomes a new plant. So I'm having to dig all of that out, and then I bag it up and I seal the bags, and they will anaerobically rot down. So it'll take about 2 years, and at the end I'll have this really slimy but incredibly nutritious kind of mass of stuff that I can dig in, because I don't want to lose all the nutrients that the weeds have taken up, because as you can imagine they've been doing quite a good job of feeding themselves. And then the next culprit is bindweed, and you can tell bindweed because it has these very brittle, I say brittle, it won't do anything now, there you go, white kind of string-like roots, and they can go on and on and on and on, and again every little bit that breaks becomes a new plant. And the best way to do it is to do it with a fork, because if you do it with a spade too much, you just break up the roots, whereas if you go over it with a fork, you tend to be able to, pull out whole filaments. The last problem, dockweed have this incredibly extensive long taproot, which goes right the way down, 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 and then it sends up this long flower spike, and each flower spike has about 30,000 seeds on it. The only way to get rid of it is to dig out the taproot. Sometimes it's really long, but as long as you get like the top 15 centimetres out, you're usually okay. There you go, you see? Tiny plant, very long root, and all of the docks I'm rotting down in a bucket of water and turning them into a kind of soup that I can use as a liquid feed, just because these taproots really have gone down and taken up a lot of deep nutrients. If you dig up a kind of spadeful of soil and then have a good look at it, and what you're looking for is life, really. Soil is very much a living architecture, and it needs to have the right amount of air in it so that it can breathe. So first of all you want to see if it's compacted or not, and you need it to have a kind of nice porous nature, because that will let the water run through, but more importantly it will take air to the roots of plants, because plants breathe as much through their roots as they do through their leaves. And then what you want to look for is to see whether you've got any little creatures, and worms are a really good indicator that your soil is in a really healthy state. 5 to 10 worms per spit or spade is a sign that you have absolutely astonishingly good soil, because it means that there must be a lot of organic matter in it. So the real trick to keeping an allotment manageable is to make sure that the weeds don't grow back. And every time I clear a patch, I lay down cardboard. Now this eventually breaks down, but it takes just long enough to act as a weed suppressant, because every time you dig the soil up, you bring all sorts of weed seed which were buried to the surface, and then they germinate. the cardboard just stops that from happening, and all the worms will start coming to the surface of the soil to eat it. So eventually you'll come and find that the worms have completely taken all of the cardboard into the soil. So all in all, it's a good thing. And if you have any compost, the best thing you can do, put down the cardboard, put a big thick layer of compost on top of it. The worms will come up, eat the cardboard, and then find the compost and eat this. And they'll basically do all the digging for you. And that's it, job done. If I know that I'm coming for the day to the allotment, and I really like to come with enough bits of wood and whatnot to get the storm kettle going, and then I love to have lunch up here, because I think one of the most pleasurable activities is to do a bit of gardening and then just go and pick and cook your lunch just there and then on the allotment. Well, I like eating, and if you like eating, I can't imagine you wouldn't like garlic. But my dad always used a lot of garlic when I was a kid, when he was cooking. So there are two types of garlic: soft neck garlic, which has this soft neck, and hard neck, which has a really hard neck. And that hard neck is actually going to turn into, or was once upon a time, the flower spike. And hard neck garlic is completely superior in taste to soft neck garlic. However, hard neck garlic doesn't store. You can probably keep it for 3 months once you've harvested it. So commercially, everybody grows soft neck because you can store it for up to a year. But this is the one where there's real, I mean, it's worth growing two types, because this is the one you eat through the summer and it just tastes divine. All of the things that you dislike about garlic, that really hot, kind of strong flavour that makes garlic sometimes overwhelming, doesn't exist in hard neck garlic. And the way you go about planting soft neck is, first of all, you very carefully take the cloves off. And you need to do this carefully because the bottom plate here is where all the roots are going to come. And if you damage that, it has a very hard time. Once you've got all your cloves out, you need to size them, because the biggest cloves will give you the biggest plants next year, and those are the ones you want to grow. So this is what a hard neck looks like. And you can see, here's that central column. Oh, it smells so good. Garlic needs 30 days and nights of temperature below 10 degrees Celsius. If it doesn't have this, bulb initiation doesn't occur. Those cold nights are what initiate the formation of the cloves. So you plant it in winter, and then as it begins to warm up, this little shoot suddenly shoots itself off into life, and that's where you get the lovely fat cloves from. All you do is put, get rid of the weeds, the clove about 10 centimetres down. You keep about, I don't know, 20 centimetres between cloves, like that. Make sure the flat end goes down, because those are the roots. You give between, so 20 centimetres in each direction. Pop it in the ground, and that's it, job's done. You really don't have to do any more work. You know when your garlic is ready because the leaves will go yellow and they'll wither back, and that's the point that you carefully dig it up, and then you need to dry it. You need to dry it for about 2 weeks, preferably in the sun, or at least somewhere light and airy. And then after that, that's it, your garlic is ready. You can start eating it immediately, and it will also store for at least 3 months, and hopefully right the way through till the next point when you start growing it again. And there is nothing more to garlic than that. Put it in the ground, keep the weeds away. That's it, job done. Just while I was here, somebody left me some chilies. You know, you can't come to an allotment and not walk away with something, whether it was a bit of advice or some seeds or some produce. Something really honest about allotment life. You know, you can't have it forever. It's not like a house, it's not bricks and mortar. You're just passing through. You can have it for a bit of time, and that's it. Up here, I just want to be able to come, cook, garden, eat, garden, cook, garden, eat.